from New York or wherever in the States or the world. I know it's been 7 days since I've been on here, but I've been posting. Let me let some people come in. I'm up here taking care of some things in the house, and I said, let me just take out this time at this moment to get behind this mic after taking care of myself. I'm committed this year into self-care and awareness, resetting, realigning, and renewing. I know I didn't put it in that order, but all of those three components are a major thing for me. And I want to share with the entire world because we're living in I be careful what I say because words have power and they come upon you. But we're living in some turbulent waters, I should say. So this is the opportunity and a chance that you get to see who's going to sink, who's going to swim, and who's just going to float. This is how I would like to summarize it in those three categories. Myself, I've been swimming for a long, long time. And sometimes I've just been floating because I've just been going and floating through the waves, whatever comes, whichever way. And today makes 7 years since my godson, he was 19 years old, that was murked by adult men senselessly in South Ozone Park, Queens. And this occurrence happened 6 weeks after I lost my daughter, Alexia, on Thanksgiving and my birthday. So, no, this particular segment is not going to be all about me boo-hooing and crying, but just to give a little snippet into my world of getting to this point. Because some may know there is no timeline, no set timeline on your grief. Let me share that I'm behind the mic here. Okay, here I'm reconnecting. Nobody came up here yet. Then I could see. Nobody came up here yet. Then I could see. Okay. So now I'm back because I don't have my other phones. I'm not downstairs in the basement. And I was just briefly saying about reset, renew, and realigned. I'm realigning, still with the grief, but it's not as bad as it used to be. 8 years ago, today, 7 years ago. In fact, with my godson, hi, I see one person in the chat. Hopefully they're coming in peace and bringing good, light energy, because we don't have none of that negativity. Not in here. This should be a safe space. This should be a educational knowledge space. And as I was saying, if you hear a little noise in the background, it's my heat. I committed this year to myself, 2026, for self-love, self-care, and to do better in all things. I'm your host. I'm Tam Behind the Mic, and I'm sharing this journey On today being the 7th year since my godson was murked in Queens. And I've heard people, because I've been trying to tweak the channel, and I know that I'll probably switch over and change another channel about the hip hop, about the music, and my pioneer status in that. Losing a loved one, losing a child is the most horrendous thing that anyone can possibly endure. And that is was my story and still is my story. 6 weeks. Okay. Okay. I saw this little feature that they popped up on YouTube. They're always doing different things that are new and that's captivating. However, I couldn't imagine that the last time that I would see my godson, Omaree Shakur Morrison, would be at his god sister's homegoing services, December 7th. My godson was 19 years old. He was aspiring. Hi, Spider Sammy. How you doing? And what happened to him shouldn't have happened to anyone. And I must say that I'm grateful and still blessed, even walking through and with losing loved ones, children, a child, godchildren, godchild rather, and so many other people, so many other friends and acquaintances and things like that. But some may ask, well, how long does it take? There's no timeline. Some people are able to drown themselves in work, different activities immediately. That wasn't my process. My process has been in survival and battle mode, which is, as I reflect, because I'm doing a reflection as well on the past 8 years, I really want to do like maybe 10 years. Yeah, maybe like 10 years. But I think I'm going to do it in increments. But however, to get to this place, like some people that lose children, male or female, it's like a literal heartbreak. And I've learned that through attending grievance support groups, because everything is not for social media. They have different platforms now, but it's not really far as getting the help. I find for myself, I had to silence, I had to disconnect, and I've disconnected from social media in increments at a year at a time. And for me, what helped me get in tune and in contact with my feelings is COVID, ironically, because that gave me a segue into shutting down my house and going within. And then through my meditation and my prayers, the right people, the right organizations, they came and they appeared and they assisted me on this pathway. That no doing of my own or anything. So I don't want to talk about my daughter. I'm going to talk about my godson Omaree. He was 19 years old. He was still attending an alternative school. He was homeless. I didn't know that his mom had lost their place. But there's things that I've always told Omaree as a black youth living in America that you must learn, even though he learned differently. He had a speech impediment. He did not give up. And I was glad that they gave him a posthumous graduation. So he did graduate, and even though his spirit was there, and his mom, Kim Simmons, she was still alive at the time. And I need to talk about Kim and Omaree. Omaree was her only child. And unfortunately, like I said, everybody deals with heartbreak and they deal with grief. in different manners. And it broke Kim's heart to the extent that she was discovered decomposing in 2023. And that was really sad. Was it 2023? Wait a minute. I don't think it was 2023. I think it might have been. I know you'll see a glimpse of me down, dressed down. I believe it was so many years go by, you kind of lose count. I think it was 2021. I'm going up here stairs to see the look on her obituary. And I have my godson Omaree's in case. It was 2020. Time just went by so fast. And I know it broke her heart because, you know, as a parent, you think that you're supposed to always not drop the baby. So, and there was a lot of particulars. And he was murdered senselessly. I'm fortunate that New York City detectives did find the men. They weren't boys. They were men. And they were professionals. And they was going around murking young people over territories. And I remember after I found out that that Kim had passed away. I mean, they must be talking about me. Anyway, that Kim had passed away. It just really kind of took me to pieces because we really weren't in communication with one another. She was a teenage besties, but sometimes friendships goes different directions. And unfortunately, that's what happened with us. But the internal love was all the same. And I remember our last argument, you know, I hung up the phone with her and I said, she don't know what it's like to lose a child. And I never could imagine that 6 weeks later that my godson would meet that kind of demise. But we came together because that was my godson and I made a commitment and I did whatever I could do for victim services. That's when I had my vehicle and I'm still in shock, you know, about my daughter. So here I get a double whammy and it's my godson. Well, you know, I stood up and did what I needed to do. And even though my godson had gotten into some mischief that I kind of forewarned her about when he was younger, but, you know, everybody, you know, deals and maintain their household differently. And had I known that he was staying somewhere in opposition to where she was housed at, he could have definitely stayed with me. And I had missed his call. And I don't know if that was a call for help or assistance or what. And during this time, I could not even look at television. So I wasn't looking at TV. I'm glad I didn't see it. It was plastered all over the television, all over social media, and I was clueless until her sister, one of the sisters called me Keisha, baby girl, to let me know because I know Kim just did not know how to say, and she had said some very awful and mean things to me. But, you know, true friends, you put certain things to the side. And that's what I did. And I showed up for her to the best of my ability, but more so my godson. And yeah, I'm so grateful to the detectives that took out the time because they saw that my godson had never had any criminal records or anything. And that's why today, with me renewing and resetting, I'm such an advocate, very so much of an advocate for different nonprofit agencies that are really doing the work to keep children, young teens, young men off the streets, letting them know and telling them that there are different options, you know, and getting them involved in the community. And I need to shout out Life Camp, Erica Ford. I'm always, not always, but sometimes I have to travel and I use share rides to accommodate some health issues that I have and that I'm dealing with. And this young lady, they were waiting for me, and I think she was a little disgusted because my time was a little different. And I stocked up this conversation with her. And if anyone knows me, I'll share certain things and, you know, not that I need a therapy session because I have my own therapist. And I've been, doing this extensive work for some decades now. As things happen, as life happens, because life definitely be lifing, as they say, um, I've learned to use various different tools that are very conducive. And this young lady had stated how she had a very complex life too. And, she had gone through some things and she had been arrested and she had a young baby. And I don't think she was that young. And I think she was taken in but not legally adopted by someone that made a difference in her life. And just going through these social deviances that are within a lot of the urban communities. And she was saying how Erica Ford, which I know Erica Ford from riding on a B-53 bus, attending Grover Cleveland High School, them banging on the back of the bus and me freestyling, rapping over the boom bap and everything. And later on, when social media, I was able to see how she created Life Camp. And, she is really out there with the boots on the ground, making a difference because she made a difference in this young woman's life where she said Erica Ford used to come when she was incarcerated, come and talk to her and everything. And now she's employed, and that is the stories that you like to hear. Those are the ones I embrace, you know, um, and that's what's needed in our communities now, even though um, we have President Trump, and I'm not necessarily a Trump supporter, but I don't knock some of the policies. But there was something that he was doing just the other day that I was getting ready to ring the alarm for the simple fact taking $2 billion from addiction, substance abuse, and mental health services that really would have done a number on the black and brown and the Latino communities. and even the white communities. That was like a no-no. And I'm glad that they did reverse it. So today I started my day by getting my grandchildren up and out to school. And at one point, I used to just go back to sleep because I haven't really slept good in maybe almost, 8 years? And sometimes I wasn't getting any sleep prior to that because I was very concerned about my daughter, and I had every right to be. So for this new year, I don't make New Year resolutions because you break them. I've made a commitment to myself for more self care, for more stretching, being more conscientious of my health, which I am. I'm in menopausal age, and the menopausal weight and the whole entire change dynamic to the body is something to gravel with and wrestle with, and that's what I'm dealing with. But I woke up and I like to burn incense or essential oils because it really mellows out my mood. And every year around this time, I feel a little somber, but I think of so many different cases when young people or even older people are murdered, something happens to them and they disappear. They're unsolved cases, but not my godson. And when Kim transitioned in 2020, his mom, I picked up the mantle and I contacted the detectives, and they know that I was the key person to contact because he lost his father too. Everybody was devastated. And so when people may pass judgment on anyone that has had a loss or losses, they shouldn't, because the grieving process hits everybody differently. And what works for you may not work for me. And that's the bottom line. And that could be anything outside of grief. So I always and often wonder what life would have been for Omaree. But I knew one thing for certain and two things for sure. He definitely should have um, not been in association with the guys he was running with. And I would have liked to envision that he would have cut ties with them, even though they grew up together. Because, like myself, some people go different directions in life, and their lives turn out different than yours. And then, you got the haters. The haters come along because they know that you have gone through some challenges, and they may have also instigated and orchestrated a ways and means for a negative demise. And people can outgrow, just like in any relationship. You can outgrow one another. But I don't know if that would have happened. And I guess I'll never know. But I know one thing for certain and two things for sure, that he is in divine spirit. He has both of his parents, and that he continued to fly high as an angel, and he's deeply missed. So with me renewing myself sometime today, because I have other things that I need to do first, I am going to sit and write. I'm in a mode where the writer's block is gone, and any subject or different topic that may come into mind, I'm going to write on it. I can write an article, a passage, or even a song, or maybe all three. I guess you'll just have to wait and see. So with that, I just wanted to make some connection to the YouTube universe and let you all know that Tam Behind the Mic is here. And I'm also committed to being more consistent in building my channels. Because after all, I don't have to run around all in the cold or beat down. But I know that things happen for a purpose, on purpose. And you have to take every life lesson, or any tragedy, whether or not it's good or bad, and evolve to the best of your ability. And that's what I mean by resetting, changing that pathway, the mindset, and making sure that your aura is protected, that your force field is around you is positivity. Even though negative stuff creeps in, but as an individual and as I'm committed is to setting a barrier against negativity and try to be as light and positive as possible. Because I'm human and I'm not perfect, when I find myself deviating, I better take another curve and go on the pathway. So that's where I'm at. And I'll probably come back later on and kick it with you all. And I'll have more scripted segments. That's another goal. So with that, you all have a wonderful day. And if you're in New York City, it's freezing outside. So bundle up. Bundle up. Have a productive and peaceful day.